Do you struggle with what you need to actually accomplish on a day-to-day basis? And you may even have these big, lofty goals, but you're always thinking, it seems so far off. How do I actually accomplish these big goals that I have in my mind? Well, I'm going to tell you that it starts just the way they say, eating an elephant one bite at a time. You have to chop away at your goals every single day. Now, a lot of experts will say that your day starts the night before. I do believe in that, but if you're waiting till the night before to plan your day, you're already way behind. So what I believe is that your week starts the week before, your month starts the month before, your quarter starts the quarter before, and your year starts the year before. So what we're going to discuss is how you can break down the macro to the micro so that you know that you're going to accomplish your goals. And once you set out for planning for the next year, which is when you need to start, that way if you're planning for the next year, you can get a head start. But you need to really do that in and around the October time frame if you want to plan for the new year. But even really around June or July, I'm going to break down in this video how we already start planning for the next year. Hey, my name is Levi Lascsak, and if this is your first time to the channel, we discuss everything you need to know to generate a passive prospecting YouTube channel for your business. And if you want to learn from a team that has actually done it, oh, this is the channel for you. So in this video, we're going to be discussing how you break down your big projects and your big goals into bite-sized chunks and how you make sure that you're planning accordingly and so that you're taking care of and moving closer to your goal every single day. So what I like to start out with, number one, is plan for the macro, okay? So what we do is we have our business planning meeting in October to start off the year. However, our year starts in June or July of the year before. And what I mean by that is we start to plan out, number one, vacations, okay? Now, a lot of people get burnout or struggle with getting burnout or concerned about getting burnout, or they just wonder, how am I gonna make it through just working all the time? Well, the thing is I think you have to plan time for yourself and your family. You have to take that time off, but you have to schedule it as far in advance as possible because number one, it gives you something to look forward to, right? It gives you something to be like, man, in 4 or 5 months, I'm going on that vacation to Hawaii or Mexico or wherever it may be. That's very important. It gives you something to look forward to. So if you know I'm going to grind it out over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, then I've got this week or 10 days in paradise that will allow me to relax. So the first thing you want to do is start looking at 1 or 2 vacations the next year. Put those on the calendar because I promise you if they're on the calendar and they're paid for, number one, you're going to go because they're paid for. Number two, you're going to work around them. It gives you plenty of time to plan in advance. So if anything comes up, you simply say, I already have something scheduled at that time. And plus it gives you something to look forward to. Plus it probably helps you in your family relationship because it gives your spouse or your kids or your significant other something to look forward to as well, where if you ever get accused of working too much, at least they say, well, hey, thank goodness in 3 months we're going to Mexico, right? And so that gives your family something to look forward to as well. So that way it allows you to work. And if you say, hey family, look, we're going to go on our vacation in 3 or 4 months, I just need to grind it out right now, really work hard and focus and concentrate on this, it's going to allow you that opportunity to do it. All right, number two is you want to put conferences or meetings, events on this calendar as well. So that's why I said it starts in June or July of the year before, because by June or July, conferences have typically released their schedule for the next year. Actually, we were just at a conference in NAR where we spoke, and as we were leaving, they had banners for next year's conference 12 months out. So there's a couple of things that you can do. First of all, I think you should always attend at least 2 minimum of conferences or events each year. Number one is going to be your brokerage conference. Pretty much every brokerage I know in the real estate industry has a main conference each and every year. You want to get to that one because that is going to, first of all, raise your belief and your understanding of why you're at the brokerage you're at in the first place, okay? Plus, you're gonna meet people, you're going to draw inspiration, motivation, you're gonna learn things, but connecting with corporate staff or influencers in your company or people that you're learning from or your coaches or friends. I mean, I've got conference buddies all over the country and I love it whenever I run into them at multiple conferences throughout the year. You need to schedule that conference, the main one for your brokerage, because that is going to ground you each and every year, gives you a good idea. Plus, you're going to learn all about your brokerage, the numbers, how well it's doing, if it's not doing so well, and then maybe you need to pivot or make a change. And so therefore, it allows you to really get a good sense of what's going on and have an understanding, and it gets your buy-in again each and every year. The second conference that you should always attend is going to be a skills-based conference. So for us, we're all about video and YouTube. So we look up all of the conferences, and that's what we mentioned, is always look up all the conferences for the next year, real estate, and for us, video and marketing, okay? So we want to attend a video or a marketing conference at least. Now, we tend to a lot more than that, but I'm just saying for you, if this is something you're concerned about, time or money, then at least pick 2. Then the second one should be on skills, okay? So for us, video and marketing. So we look at all YouTube conferences, all marketing conferences, all video conferences, and then we can start to narrow that down. This last year, we went to almost all of them. We had to. And we had a lot of speaking opportunities, but at the same time, again, we're meeting influencers and people, and the relationships that we build at these conferences are absolutely priceless. But the reason you want to plan this advance is because of a couple of reasons. Number one, early bird pricing. Almost every single conference offers early bird pricing. So if you're concerned about cost, you want to pay for that ticket as soon as possible, because it could be $200, $300, $400, sometimes $500 off the retail price, and whenever it gets closer to that conference. So if you lock in early bird pricing, it's done. You've got the cheapest price possible. Plus, it's already paid for, so you're incentivized and more likely to attend when it actually comes up next year. Plus, it's a relief because you're like, oh, well, I already paid for it anyway, so I might as well go and check it out. Number 2, better pricing on flights. So if you go ahead and book a flight for that time being, then you're probably going to get a better price on the flight. And number 3, the host conference or the host hotel for the conference. You want to book as much as possible to stay at the hotel where the conference is at. And the earlier you can do that, number 1, if you wait till the last minute, they typically sell out. What does that force you to do? You'll have to stay at the hotel next door or a block down the street, or sometimes 3 blocks down the street. Then you have to worry about Uber and taxis and transportation or renting a car or getting back and forth, the logistical things that you really don't want to mess with while you're at a conference, okay? So the thing is that if you can book at the host hotel, that's going to save you additional transportation and logistics of trying to get him back and forth to the conference. Nothing better, in my opinion, than just coming down the elevator in the morning, 5 minutes before the conference starts, grabbing a cup of coffee and walking in there. And now, of course, you want to go a little bit early to network and things like that, but that's something to keep in mind. So you can cut your costs drastically, sometimes by a third, by getting your ticket early, booking your plane ticket early, and staying at the host hotel. Now, the host hotel may be more expensive, but you have to look at the cost than the one, 2 or 3 blocks down the road, because if you end up having to rent a car or Uber or something like that, you may end up spending the exact same amount that you would spend on that host hotel in the first place. And it's like, you might as well just stay there anyways. But the thing is what a lot of people do is they look at today's cost versus tomorrow's value. That is something that I don't believe you'll ever be successful in your business if you always look at today's cost. And it's very hard to justify or monetize the return of a conference ticket or a flight or a hotel. Now, if you say this conference in totality is going to cost me $2,000, it's hard to say, well, I met this one person. Now, if you can tie direct business back to what you earned, well, then you're going to be able to justify the cost. But I almost get referrals from every conference I go to, so that you can tie to real estate transactions, and you could directly track the return of attending these conferences. I actually just got a referral 2 days ago. I just got a random text and said, Levi, I met you at this conference 6 months ago. I know you're in Dallas. I got a referral for you. Okay, so, could I have tracked the cost of that ticket, plane, and hotel back then, or have I thought about it? No, but now I know that one referral will more than pay for that cost of that trip. And so I'm not worried about it. But developing your skills, meeting the people, the influencers, the coaches, the staff, the corporate people for these companies that you want to learn more from, absolutely priceless in my opinion. It is something that will get you further than the cost of admission at any point. For example, I've been fortunate to develop a relationship with Michael Valdez, the president of EXP Global. Now, the thing is that I know Michael as my gym buddy, right? We developed a relationship from always being at these conferences and at the gym at 5:30 in the morning. And so we became friends because I know he's always going to be there and he knows I'm going to be there. And now he asked me, are you going to be at Inman in January? And I said, yes, I am. We're actually speaking at Inman. And he said, well, we got an opportunity to ring the bell on the NASDAQ floor. I'm going to do what I can to get you in. He didn't promise me he'd get me in, but he said, I'm going to do what I can. So I have the opportunity possibly to actually ring the bell for EXP on the floor of the NASDAQ. That's huge. That's a great opportunity. Now, if it doesn't happen, I'll be a little bit bummed, but it's okay. That opportunity would have never even come up if I was not at these conferences consistently and also sticking to my schedule, showing up in the mornings, even before the conference, being in the gym, working out, and developing these relationships with Michael, who I would probably never run into ever, other than conferences. We just, he lives in New York, I live in Texas. So we're just not running into each other randomly, throughout our months or weeks. But these conferences allows us to develop relationships and meet people that we normally don't have access to. All right, so number 3, once you've planned out your 2 vacations, your 2 conferences at a minimum, you want to start looking quarterly. Okay, what am I going to do on a quarterly basis? For us, we've got a local team in the Dallas market. So we want to do at least one main team building event every quarter. Now, doesn't mean we're going to know exactly what we're going to do, but we need to go ahead and block off those dates. As we block off those dates, that's already in the calendar every single quarter. Then we're going to come back and look at the month, okay? What do we want to do every month? We like to meet with our team in person every single month. So we do that on the first Friday of every single month. We have a team meeting where we get lunch, or we may go do something fun at that time as well. But we know, and the team knows, that's scheduled for the first Friday every single month. So now that's taken care of. We love to get our team in person together. Actually, we just partied last night at the putt-putt course where we did putt-putt and dinner and drinks, and it was a great time. So we got to hang out. We always like to do fun things. We did paintball a little while ago. So, things that we can do together, have a little fun, get out of the office. But otherwise, every single month, the first Friday, we want to reward and recognize for the previous month and the year to date and those types of situations, and also just have a time to hang out and stay together and just, rub elbows, I could say. So, otherwise we're having meetings every single week on Zoom, but you want that in-person connection as well. So now we have our monthly meetings scheduled on top of that. From there, then we're going to start to chip away on our week, okay? So we've looked at the year, we've looked at the quarter, we've looked at the month, and now we're going to look at the week. Well, for me, training people on YouTube, especially with our own course clients and our team members and our organization inside of EXP, well, I schedule several trainings each week. I always have a Monday call, Tuesday call, Wednesday call. And so those go on the calendar, reoccurring events every single week, except for maybe a holiday, right? On top of that, I got to have meetings with my social media team. We have a content discussion every single Monday where I get the whole team, our social manager, our client care manager, our ops manager, our agency manager, our videographer, all on a meeting every Monday so we can recalibrate. What are we focusing on for the week? What are we publishing? What new content do we have? What can we repurpose? What are we working on? What do we have? Am I speaking? Am I on a podcast? What's going on? So we work it through all those pieces every single week. Then I have a standing Monday meeting with our development team and our ads team. And then also we talk about our executive meeting. So that's between myself and Travis and our ops manager. Every morning we have the executive meeting, and have that on Mondays and Fridays. So you see, we start to fill in our gap, these standing meetings that happen every single week throughout the week. And so therefore that starts to piece together everything. If I want to do a live on YouTube, I also do live on our real estate channel, sometimes on Tuesday night. So that's in there. So once I break down all that, what happens is I end up having about 50% of my week scheduled out every single week. It's already solid. Now here's going back to the beginning of what I was saying, whenever people don't understand sometimes how to tackle the big goal. You see what I'm doing here? I'm taking all of that, the year, breaking it down to the quarter, then the month. Now I'm going to the week, and then I'm going to go to the day. So the thing is that once that's all laid out, I have gaps. Once my week is pretty much planned out 50% already every single week, there's going to be gaps because people want to get on my calendar about partnering with us at EXP. People that are already partnered with me want to get on the calendar, to get unstuck or, get questions answered. Then there's also random meetings for new projects that we're working on, or development meetings, or things that we want to look at implementing in our business. So that goes in all the gaps. And that's pretty much, I stay on top of that at least 2 weeks out. On top of that, I get invited to podcast and to speaking events. And so, when my friend Juan calls me up and says, hey, we got a speaking event in Tampa, we would like you to speak in February, I can simply look at my calendar and say, oh, nothing's booked. I do have my weekly bookings or my weekly schedule already booked, but I'll have to scale back and cancel a couple of those. But I'm not traveling anywhere else. So I can say, sure, yeah, absolutely, Juan, I would love to speak at your event. And so Those opportunities come up all the time, and it's a very simple yes or no for me, because if I already have something booked out or I'm already speaking somewhere, then I simply say, I'm sorry, I can't make that because I already have another event scheduled. But if it's part of my reoccurring weekly meetings, that I know I can reschedule or push back or go ahead and cancel for 1 week. My goal is to stay consistent every single week. Now, people understand if I'm speaking or traveling that I won't be there, that's okay. Then on top of that, podcast. I get a lot of requests for podcasts, typically doing anywhere from 1 to 3 podcasts a week. And so it's simple because my ops manager can schedule that in. She can look at my calendar and just say, well, he's got a gap on Wednesday afternoon. And guess what? I'll pop in a podcast. Simple, easy. I stick to my schedule. And the thing is that what I'm doing on these weekly fixed meetings with the content team, with the developers, with the ads team, with my executive team, everybody, that is what's chipping away at the big goals that we have. And so every single week I'm getting on these calls, I'm providing the vision, I'm providing the clarity, I'm providing what are the next steps. I'm getting the updates, what's working, what's not working, where are we at, how far along are we in the process. So I start to understand all of this, and then I can direct on saying, okay, let's do this, let's change that, let's cut out this, let's add this, let's move this here. And so what happens is that I stay consistent. I'm eating the elephant one bite at a time. I'm showing up every single week, but I'm bringing in the right people, the right teams, the right leverage that I need to start chipping away on all the big projects that we have, the goals. And then when we add in each week, maybe we add in some small projects. And what I always talk with my team is that I love small wins, because the small wins add up and they get us to the big wins. So if we have something that we can tackle in the next hour or two, let's knock it out, because we may be working on a month or 3-month or 6-month long project. And if that's the case, we're going to be working on that. Can we speed that up or slow it down? Sure. But completing a task that's only going to take an hour here or there is not a big deal. So ultimately, my goal is to, if I look at next year, it's already planned out, mostly with vacations, with conferences, with live events, with speaking opportunities, with podcasts, but then also all my weekly meetings. But also speaking opportunities will come up randomly throughout the year. And all I have to do is glance at my calendar and say yes or no. It's that simple. And because everything's planned out, that's what allows me to just take every single day, day by day. And that's why I don't really feel overwhelmed. Even though I have a lot going on, it doesn't matter to me. Because my calendar controls my life. I don't question what I'm doing. I'm not wondering what I'm doing. I'm just simply getting up, looking at my calendar. It's usually booked out completely 2 weeks in advance. So that's very simple for me. And then if there is a gap, well, then maybe I might have a small punch list the night before. Now, if you're going to plan the next day the night before, 90% of your day should already be booked out. But the gap, or the couple of gaps you may have, or maybe you have a cancellation or something changes, then you have your list of 3 to 5 items. That's a punch list that you can do in between or in between the gaps. Or if you have a cancellation comes up, you can say, okay, let me knock out this or knock out that. And so you break away on those little things. But otherwise, the bigger picture items are always going to be what you need to be focused on and working on and striving to complete and work on it and move closer to your goals. So those are the key things I believe in actually sticking to your schedule, planning for the new year. It starts 6 months, in my opinion, before the new year, because you need to look at the events, conferences, vacations, everything else, and plan that out. Give yourself peace of mind, give yourself something to look forward to. And in my opinion, the best conferences are the conferences in great destinations. Like in January, we're going to Hawaii. In March, we're going to Cabo. So we get to tackle 2 birds with 1 stone, right? Get to do a vacation and get to have a little, work and get to write that off. So if you're concerned about cost, maybe you think about a paradise destination where there's a conference so that you can take the family. You can attend the conference for an hour, 2 or 3 per day. They can enjoy the pool. You get to write the whole thing off, and now it becomes a business expense for that. And by the way, not legal or financial advice here, just my opinion. Check with your CPA, because I'm definitely not one. But those are the types of things you can consider. And so never look at today's cost versus tomorrow's value. Now understand, trust me, I believe in budgeting and spending your money wisely, but at the same time, investing in yourself, investing in your skills and your mind is never, ever a bad investment. Actually, it's the best investment in all, because no matter what, if you learn these skills or any skill, just like I've learned YouTube, I can apply it to any business. If I get out of real estate tomorrow, I could start any business and do what I'm doing on YouTube and position it to market myself at no charge, that business, and start to build a team in a new business because I understand the skills. I have what it takes to do that. And so, that's what you want to develop. And the thing is I've developed from books, from YouTube channels, from conferences, from coaches, from mentors, from discussions for networking, masterminds, all of that. Some of it's paid, some of it's organic, some of it's free. So you can take advantage of all of it. But the main thing is that keep moving forward, plan your year 6 months before it starts and start working toward it. Have everything scheduled out. Let your calendar control your day so that you're never wondering what you're going to do. You just move from one task to the next throughout the day, and in between the gaps or the cancellations, knock out your punch list. You'll be well on your way. That's how you plan for the new year. That's how you accomplish the big goals, which we should all have big goals, so big that they scare you. Yes, absolutely. But you have to start chipping away at them one day at a time. But that starts with planning the year before. So I hope you found this helpful. Until next time, we'll see you on the next video.